Alright, so today's lesson is rigging again with this really simple character. I'm going to turn on wireframe so you can see it's low poly considering we're not adding any subdivision surface. You can if you want to, and this model will be available for download. I'll put a Google Drive link to it so you can kind of play with it. Okay, so it's kind of like those fork carrot that's obviously we put like a foot right here. So I'm going to turn this off just to kind of show you that it can kind of look okay without the subdivision surface. Okay. All right, there it is. And we're going to do simple IK. All right, so this is for those that are having issues with animating their characters because their computer is not capable of kind of running stuff in real time. Okay, so let's get started. So first thing is if you look at the center of the world from the front, that's max center right here. If I go to the side viewport, it's there as well. There's a little bit of I guess right here, let's say I'm just going to flatten these things here just so that everything is we don't see anything that's kind of sinking on the ground and whatnot. So I'll just do a quick scale. Let me just turn on my screencast. So I'll do SZ0, and I will just kind of flatten that just so that we know for sure that that's kind of flat and we don't have any kind of issue. All right, probably we'll have to do some maintenance here. Move that a bit like so, and just kind of rounding off the back of the foot right there, so it's not too weird looking. All right, so let's get started. We're gonna get so it's all lower body. The only upper body it's just for this stem right here, just so that they move a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the I'm gonna split my screen right here. Right click, vertical split. So I have my front and my side viewport. Makes it easier to do this. I'm gonna hide my sidebar for now. Okay, and oops. All right, we're gonna get our armature. So I'm gonna press A, Shift A, armature. All right, it's somewhere in there. You can't see it. Okay, so we'll do here is go to the armature, viewport display, and then click in front, so right away we can see it. Okay, so this will be our main root bone. Okay, so I'm gonna go use my move tool here so you can see where I'm actually positioning this. So it's kind of like the root pelvis bone, and we're just gonna put it right here. All right, and what I'll do here is whenever you're setting up your bone, you're in edit mode, parenting, so on and so forth. When you're actually applying some constraint and whatnot, you have to be in post mode, so just remember that one. So this one will basically occupy the main body or the hip area, okay, of our character right there. And yeah, so if you select this one, and I'm going to press F2 on the keyboard or command function F2, I'm on a Mac, you can rename the bone. So we're going to call this one root. Okay, and then we're going to start adding other bones to it. So I'm going to let's say we want this kind of stem to kind of swing kind of a little forward, right? So I will select the tip right here, press E to extrude it. Okay, let's say here I'm gonna move it back a little bit over there, and then maybe we'll add another one right here. Okay, like a two stem, just so that we can kind of move that. We could do forward kinematics animation with that. All right, so I'm going to select this one, press F2 or command F2 if you're on a Mac. If you're using your keyboard function keys, that's something else. So we're going to call this one stem 01. Okay, and then this one stem 02. All right, so here we're going to select, we can extend another one actually. So I mean, I can just duplicate this. So Shift D, okay, and then I'll rotate it down. So this will be for our leg bone. So I'm just going to position it right there. But here in front, I will move it to kind of match where the leg is. Okay. And we can look here and kind of position this so that maybe that's where it should start kind of bending. All right. Then here, I'm giving it a slight bend forward already so that we're not going to have issues later on when we're bending this, so Blender will not think you're supposed to bend it that way. So you just give it a little bit of an inclination where it should be bending. Okay, and this is where the area where the knee will be. Okay, so you can even move this forward a bit if you want to. Okay, we will just kind of leave that in the center. All right, so this will, we can call this one the thigh bone or upper leg. So let's just call it upper leg for now. Okay. So I'm going to create. Let me finish the bone, and then we can rename them all. Okay. Move that up a little bit right there, and press E again. All right. Right here, and then we'll add another one here. All right. So we're kind of trying to kind of simplify it as much as we can. So this one can just kind of bend up and down, right? Just with the rotation. Okay. So now I'm going to name them. All right. So first, this one right here, we can call this one upper leg dot L. So this will be the left foot. I mean left leg. Okay. We're doing the dot L so that when we symmetrize this, so we get automatic bones over here, and it will know that this is for the leg, left leg, and then it will just simply rename that as a dot R. Okay, it makes life easier for us later. All right, so this one right here, since we called that one upper leg, we can call this lower leg, or you can call it your shin bone. So lower leg dot L. Okay. And then this one right here will be the foot dot L. Okay. All right. So now let's start adding all the other controllers that we'll need later on. Okay. So right now, all these bones that we've created, they contribute to the deformation of this mesh. Meaning later on, we'll do something that when we move these bones, it affects this area of the model. Okay. So what we're about to do next, I'm in the bone selection right there, is to add all those controllers that will we can move to make this animation. All right. So again, we're trying to simplify it. You know, this is not the perfect rig, far from it, but it's to kind of get you started with animating something. Okay. So I'm going to press E right here to extrude this. And I'm going to use my right-click cancel that. I want to make sure this is kind of like flat, so it's flat to the ground right there. And I'm going to make it a little bigger because we're not going to be using custom shapes for this one. We will just want to be able to kind of grab this. Okay. So there's this one, and then we're going to do another one right here. Press E, right-click to cancel. Since I have the tool on, I can just grab the Y-axis here and then kind of move that forward like so. Okay. So what we want from this too is not part of the deformation, because this will be the one we'll be controlling so that we can move the foot. This one is to move the knee. So this one right here is your foot controller. Foot control dot L. Okay. Foot control dot L. And it's not going to be part of deforming anything. There it is. Okay. This one right here. Oh, we already named that one. I meant to do this. Function F2. So this one will be the knee. It's a pull-up vector, so it's good to name it where you would possibly see some entry in Blender that asks for it so that you'll remember. But for now, we're just going to call it knee controller dot L. Okay. And of course, this one doesn't deform as well. Okay. And we're going to move this one a little bit. Oh, so first we need to separate these things. They can't be part of the the control right here. So what I'll do with this is, while this one's selected, Alt P to clear the parent, and I can move it away. So how far do we need it? Probably around there. You'll be able to control the knee around that area. Same thing with this one right here, so it can't be part of that. Alt P, clear the parent, and this is what will be driving from this inverse kinematic. So the foot also will be clear parent. So let's kind of do a review. The knee controller, the foot controller, and the foot bone are not part of the hierarchy. There, we cleared the parent by pressing Alt P and clear parent. Okay. Another review: the foot controller and the knee controller, they both have their deform unchecked. However, this one is part of the deformation for the foot, so everything here is good. Everything here is good. All right. So the other thing we need to do now is to parent this one so that it follows. So wherever we move the root bone, the leg should follow. So I'm going to select this. So remember, in parenting, and we're in edit mode to do this, you select first the child, then shift click the parent. Okay, then Control P to parent, and we want to keep offset. So that means it will not jump and connect itself. It will leave its space as is. All right, so now let's go to our post mode here so we can start creating our inverse kinematics. So I'm still using the left leg right here, okay, and the lower leg, and this is where we're going to apply that. So we're going to go to our add bone constraint right here, that icon, with the lower leg or the shin bone, right? We're going to apply an inverse kinematics. Okay, so by doing that, it will now ask us which one do you want to apply it to. So armature, it's this bone system. We didn't rename it, so we're just going to use armature. Okay, and then bone is like, what do you want to drive or use as a controller for, right? So right here, I'm going to use the foot control, the foot bone, right there. This one right here. So now we're almost ready. So when I grab this thing, the foot, as you can see now, all right, it's moving it along, not in a forward hierarchy, but in it's the reverse of it, so the inverse. But we have issues with the top, and we got to fix those. Okay, so the reason why it's kind of moving, because it doesn't know the chain link. We only want to control from the controller right here, from the bone target, is 1, 2, and 1 and 2 chains. So we're going to have to change the chain length to 2. Okay, let's check right now. As you can see, it did that correctly. When we move the main root, there you go. So we can bend that knee going like so. All right, so still going back to this one. What we want now is the knee vector, okay, the pole target, so we can control the knee. So we will select, again, the armature, okay, and which bone? The bone we want is the knee controller. All right, so sometimes it does some really funky stuff because we haven't reset our view and whatnot. So right here is where it's kind of rotated that way. So you simply have to add a control. This time you want that kind of pointing forward like this. So if you put 90 degrees, sometimes it goes backwards. So for my setup here, it's -90. So it might be +90 to you guys or -90. Just make sure that it kind of goes back to the way it was before you added that. So the purpose of that is now we can have a knee target. Okay, so when you move your foot like so, and you want to control it this way, you'll be able to. Okay, so let me just select all of that. Alt G to kind of reset the position. Okay, so all right, we're almost done here. What we want is not to grab this inside, so we want something where we could actually kind of move it outside, right? I mean, we can easily select as our controller. So we want this eventually to be our controller. So we'll just go to edit mode here real quick. There are several ways to do this. You can copy location, copy rotation, all that kind of stuff, but we'll just kind of simplify it. I'm just going to select this, shift click that, Control P. Okay, keep offset. I just made it the parent. Okay, so wherever we move that, it kind of follows. I also want my knee controller to be the child of the foot, so that wherever we move the foot, okay, so if I go to edit pose mode now, remember this is the parent of the foot, so if I move this foot, it moves. Okay, this one, if I well, I could connect this also to the root right there, you know, parented. But if I wanted this so that it's just kind of closer to where the action will be. So if I move this one, I want my knee not to remain in place. Otherwise, if I do move this character forward, it'll be left behind. So this knee is just basically parented to this foot. So now we can go over here and then be close to it. So you just kind of follow it along. All right. So let's press A to select everything, Alt G to reset their position. So let's just kind of do a quick review. This is the foot controller now. So this does all our movement. Okay, so all right, so there we're hitting certain issues right here now because of right there, you know, because you gotta be able to kind of follow the rotation of this one or position. So all right, so we can you know, that's kind of, you're hitting kind of limitation, but we're just gonna do a simple walk on this one. We don't need to, but that's another solution that you can put in there. You can add a bone constraint here where you just kind of follow the orientation of this one, so you will never get that kind of flipping kind of action here where you have to rotate it. Okay, but again, we're kind of simplifying it, and then we'll have a little bit more an advanced rig using a humanoid character for the more complex one. So this is just to kind of get by. All right, now since that's all set, we just need to go to edit mode now. Select all the bones by pressing A, and then we just want to symmetrize them for the other side. So I'm going to right click, symmetrize, and voila, we get everything on this side with the .R designation, all renamed and functional as well. So if I move this, okay, all the setup basically is kind of borrowed, and there we have it. Okay, just kind of checking. All right, so that's a kind of simple rig. And then for this one, we're just going to kind of do rotation or backwards, you know, just so that we could kind of slightly move the top and get some, you know, motion from it. Okay, and on this one also, so we can just do kind of forward kinematic, so we can do that for the walk. All right, so, and that basically concludes the rigging part. So now we're going to go to the paint weights. Okay, so let's go to object mode here. I'm going to select the character. I'm going to shift click the root bone here, or any parts of that when it gets selected. So again, I selected the carrot first, and then shift click the bone armature. Then I'm going to do a Control P. Okay, and this is where we combine the two together. So we want an armature deform. If you follow our channel, we did have a video on how to do empty weights and all and whatnot. So if you want to see how that works with the empty groups, please watch those videos. But this one I'm going to do with automatic weights. Okay, so upon clicking that, we can do an X mirror right here with the weight, and which we'll also see in our modeling here. We can do an X axis. So later on, if we are doing weight paints, then we can just kind of apply that. All right, so let me undo that and then kind of show it to you again. Okay, so let me select the carrot first, shift, then in the object mode. Okay, shift click the armature, Control P, automatic weights, X mirror. Okay, so we're doing mirroring, whatever we do with that one, that gets transferred on the other one. All right, so let's now check how the automatic weights by Blender did it. So they've done, you know, they've gotten pretty good with it. So select the bone. We need to be in post mode. I'm going to be here number 3. Okay, side viewport. So let me grab a foot. All right, that's not so bad. I don't think we need to do anything with the leg. It's just the upper body that's being affected by it by a whole lot. So we just have to tell that one, oh, right there. So we're gonna have to limit the movement with a walk, but we'll do that on a separate lesson. So we'll get by with this, and then we'll add one where it's a little bit more advanced, so on and so forth. Okay, so let me just save this real quick. And this is now ready for the animation. Okay, so weight painting. So let's get to that. So I'm just going to select the go back to object mode, select the caret, and then shift click the armature. Okay, and then I'm going to go to I'm just going to go straight to weight paint right here. Okay, when you're in weight painting, you have two colors that you need to be aware of. Blue is no deformation, red is 100% deformation. Anything in between would be a shared kind of deformation right there. Okay, so remember when we actually, let me post this one so we could see the obvious post mode, what we need to fix. Kind of like that one right there, this one right there. Okay, this one all right, so maybe something like that. Okay, so we could see, because you could reset this by doing Alt R. All right, so now that we kind of post it, so I can select go back to object mode here, select our model here, okay, and then go to weight paint. Okay, so now we could see what's what's happening and what we can fix. So I'm not going to do anything with the legs. It looks pretty good. However, we're getting some influence from other bones here that's affecting the body right here. So this should all be exclusive to the root, right? So let's go to our vertex group right here. So if you select the bone right here, it will show you what it's affecting. All right, so I'm in the root right now. As you can see here, it's not even red. It's meaning a lot of this part's being shared by a lot of area. Okay, so by default my brush is set to subtract right here. Mix. Okay, and this is where you can specify if you want to add or subtract. So let's go with mix first. I want to show you here. If I press N with our side view, we go to the tool, you get your brush settings right here. So once you have it here, it's a lot faster than just clicking back and forth right here. You also have your weight right here, which is the value you want to add, right? So if I go here with mix and start painting this, so you can see it's a little slow on the grabbing the influence, right? But if I force this thing, let's just go like add, okay? And I'm set to weight at 1, as you can see quickly. All this area right here, right now, we're telling our rig to be influenced by this. And you can change the radius, by the way, by pressing F right here, okay? So what we want, we're telling our weight painting now is that for the root bone, influence all this. And some of this part of that stem too. We don't want that thing kind of bending. All right, because the reason why it's kind of bending, kind of funky like that, it's not really a single model. We kind of just, I did, just kind of joined the two together. So I'm inside the stem right here, and I'm kind of telling it, hey, influence some of this inside as well. Okay, so there's probably an inside vertex right there that needs to be moved manually later. All right, so that's not so bad. Maybe a little bit more influence here. All right. Okay, so let's see right here. I'm going to go with vertex group X right here so that whatever we do on one side, it just follows the other. But since we're not doing anything here, it's not really that big of a deal. But here, as you can see, like whatever I press here, it kind of follows over there. Okay, so it's mirroring the weight painting. All right. Let's see what that does. Oh, it's just probably geometry that's getting left behind. So we can force those single. Actually, no, it's just this one. It's just an overlap. It's actually more like my fault for not positioning this properly. So that one right there. So if I just kind of bring that inside, tuck it in, that's all. That's what's happening there. All right. So now we don't see that. Okay. So it's just, you know, you can ignore that if you want to. All right. So now let's take a look. That's probably not so bad. All right. So let's get out of this one. Go back to object mode. Okay. And let's go back to selecting the armature here. And let's go to our pose mode, and I'm going to go number 3 right here, and let's see. All right, so it's still getting some of that kind of influence, a little bit on some parts. Let's see here. All right, so most likely the thigh bone is affecting it. Okay, so we're going to subtract some of those influence. So let's go to object mode here, select the caret. Weight paint. Okay, we want to make sure we're subtracting. Okay, so if I select the upper leg right here, as you can see, it's influencing it. So I'm just going to paint this, be blue, meaning do not be affected by that bone. Okay, and it should be doing it pretty much on both sides since we have that. So even if I go with my upper leg R, all right, since it's mirroring the subtraction, okay, so it's happening right there. So what about the lower leg? I don't see any influence, but let's just make sure. Okay, what else here? Maybe the stem 1. All right, stem 1, let's just subtract here. However, we need to add all this influence on stem 1. Wait a minute, what did I call a stem 3? I think I messed up with my naming. Let me make sure that I don't have extra. All right, so these are remnants from the old one. So let me just kind of remove this. You won't see this on yours. Let me see. I think it's from the old build that was, so we only have stem 2 and stem 1, all right? We don't have any stem 3. Also thigh and shin. So you don't have to do this when I give you the file. I will clean it up, and I apologize. I forgot to clean this up. There's some vertex group. Should have assigned them to right pole. All right, so this should have only what we have right here. Okay, so stem 1 right there. I'm going to click add. Let me paint it. So we do want to influence a lot of it here. All right, and then for stem 2, the upper part, we want to make sure this guy's turn kind of red, because we do want to influence this when we move that bone. Let me angle it correctly so I don't end up painting surface I'm not supposed to. All right, so let's influence that a little bit more right here. I'm leaving it green over here because I do want the root bone to kind of just select those. All right, let's take a look. So I'm going to go to object mode, and let's select the armature. Go to post mode. All right, so there's still a lot moving on this side right here. So let's select the go back to weight paint here, and let's take a look. Upper leg, The upper leg probably can do a little bit less here. Alright. A little bit less from the back influence. Alright. That's probably fine right there. Okay. And then maybe... Alright. And I want to mix this though, because it's just kind of... I want a little bit of oops. Deformation in here. So I'll go to the root bone, and I want to make sure that I'm sharing this a little bit to the other, so it doesn't look like it's really pinching it. Okay, so and the root bone's pretty much going to take over this side right here. All right, that should do it. And let's take a look. Go to side right here. Pose mode. All right, so right there, we could probably get our walk animation to happen here. Okay, it's pinching heavily. It's kind of like bothering me right here. It's mostly the influence that's on this one, so I can just kind of mix that. Let's just kind of fix that real quick. All right, so it's the root bone. We have mix right here, and I'm gonna lower the weight a bit so that it's just gradual. All right, there you go. So I'm just kind of, and then upper leg, so that it doesn't deform it too much. Okay, let me go to subtract right here, lower the weight. I'm going to turn on my wireframe also, makes it easier to see the deformation. Alright, there you go, that's what we want. We want kind of full body with the carrot, and just, you know, we don't want it getting influenced by the upper leg and the upper leg R right here. Alright, so we do want this to kind of remain looking like the full body, so that it deforms really nicely. Alright, maybe I did that a little too much, but let's see here, we'll go with mix a bit. Alright, so just kind of share that influence just a little bit. Alright, that's not bad. Back to object, select the bone, post mode, and alright, let me turn off my it's turned off. Okay, so gotta fix this one with the thigh bone. It needs to influence this a little bit more. Alright, so we'll go with, we can do mix, upper left right here. Let's go with add. We want it to have a little bit more access on this one, so that it's doesn't look like it's collapsing there. Actually, go to the root and add more power to the root over here and mix it a little bit so that it doesn't look like it's collapsing too much. All right. And again, if we actually have a subdivision surface, it will ease a lot of these, because you're not gonna see those really funky. Just went inside and there, probably Oh, it's just for with the light because it's a subsurface scattering. All right, so there it is. We can now start with the animation with this one. All right, so let me go to number 3 right here, and I can just go A to select everything, Alt, Option G to reset the movement, Option R for rotation. All right, so now we are ready to kind of do a simple walk on this one. All right, so we're gonna make it a little bit more manageable. We're just gonna go every 15 frames. Okay, so we'll start the first position. Okay, so we're only animating the knee controllers, the foot controller, and the root right here. Okay, for the main one, and then we'll add all the secondary animation with going back in. All right, so let's take a look here. Let me move that a little bit. So on frame 1, let's just kind of position our character. So I'm gonna drop this one here. All right, drop the body a little bit. We're gonna, the left leg is forward, the right leg is back a bit. So that's our kind of starting position. Okay, so we're going to animate all these things that needs to be doing something with our animation, right? So we're going to key all those. So the foot controller, right, both foot controller, the our root controller, all right, the root bone, and then the knees. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to secondary animate all those later. So I'm going to press I on frame 1, and it's going to do location. So that's keyframe right there. Okay, so and then we will go depending on the speed of the walk. So let's say if we make this into 1 second, which is 24 frames, it's a little slow. So we'll go, 15 frames, and we can always stretch that. Okay, so now we're going to go to frame 15. Okay, and we'll just basically reverse the location, but we're going to be moving this forward. So so on frame 15, we want this leg to stay here, but we want this to go to the other side. Okay, so this one now will go to this side right here. Then the body will go to this side. So just kind of transfer in position. All right, so we select those both foot controller, both knee controller, and the root controller. Press I to add the keyframe location. So if we now slide this thing, that's all it did. All right, so we go to frame 30, since we're kind of mechanically doing the walk every 15 frames, right? So we'll just kind of do the reverse now. The body will have to go forward. This leg will go forward. You're wondering why we're not lifting any foot and whatnot. Those are for your secondary stuff. First you do your pose to pose, and then you can do your follow through animation. All right, I'm going to select the both controller, knee, and the root. Press I, location. So now we have our character moving forward. Okay, and we're back now to the position where, okay, our left leg is forward again. But let's keep doing this up to frame 60. Okay, so we'll grab this one and this one. So we're just going to slide those the same. Move this back a bit. Move this forward a bit. Okay, and that's on frame 30. Oh, sorry, should have moved it to 45. That's my fault right there. So move this forward. Always move the time first after you selected what you want to animate, of course. All right, right there. Select all those 5 controllers. Press I, location. Okay, and then we go to 60. we do the opposite leg, that is. All right, select all the 5 bones that are controlling the location. All right, so now let's just end this at 60, and let me position it here. Let's take a look. All right, very mechanical walking, but you get the point. Now we can add all the other little things in between. All right, so first is we want to make sure we could see our animation here. We go to our frame 1. Okay, so remember it's frame 15, so around halfway there, around frame 8. All right, this leg, so don't get confused here. You need to be selecting the correct leg. This is the one that's kind of passing. We're going to exaggerate this walk a bit. Humans, we preserve a lot of our energy. You notice when you walk, you barely lift your foot. So, frame 8 right here, we're going with the right foot that is passing. We're going to lift that up a bit. Okay, it went up a bit, and then again I moved to frame 8 first, and we're going to move this one just slightly so it's a little higher on the. Okay, so here we're going to animate those things again so that we have kind of markers for them where they're supposed to be staying. So this one right here and this one is what we animated. Okay, and if we want to animate the knee right here, you can kind of move it a little bit over there, but let's worry about that after. So right foot and the root one, press I, location. Okay, so now as you can see, it went up, the body went up a bit, and that one landed it right there. Okay, so now it's this guy's turn. All right, so here on frame 15, we're going to go a little bit halfway. I'm going to go frame 24 right there. It goes up a bit. The body goes up a bit. Okay, so body and the left foot controller, press I, location. All right. All right, and landed, and then same thing. I'm going to go around frame 39 right there. Okay, so frame 39, it's this one that's maybe 38. Okay, they both kind of go up a bit. Oops, sorry. Let's make sure I don't get confused here. So left foot is forward, so that one is the one that needs to go up. All right, around frame 38 right there. Move that up a bit. Body moves up a bit. You both select them. Press I, location. All right. And of course, now this one, around frame 54, goes up. Body goes up a bit. Press select both, press I, location. All right, so now we got, it's kind of like a really careful walk. All right, so we got that going. So now let's say we want to animate the knee kind of spreading a little bit back and forth. Okay, or even go with the foot right here, and then we can animate this also. Starting as if it's a little bit more inwards when they're walking. So we could do that. So, but let's let's do that right here. So frame 1, we're going to go in a little bit on that foot right there, and then this one as well, go in a little bit. Okay, so both foot controller on frame 1, we can start like that, and then on and then when they're on frame 15, that's when they're both spread again. We can select one again and kind of move it inwards a little bit. That one inwards a little bit. Select them both. press I, location. Let's go to frame 30. That's when they're spread a bit again. We go in. We go in. Select that, and then press I, location. Then they're gonna do that again on frame 45. Select that, move it in a little bit. This one, select both, press I, location, and finally frame 60. We do the exact same thing again. Select both, press I, location. So if we play this one. All right. Now let's add some of the knee animation. This guy first. Okay, this is the right one. So I'm going to go like so. It's going to go when it's on frame 8. We can kind of move it out a bit. Okay, so you kind of like bowing the walk a little bit, or you can go in a bit, okay, depending on what you want to do. So for this one, around frame 8, let's go out a bit right there. Press I, location, and then right here around frame 40, press I, location. It's down, and then that's the end of it. Okay, this guy right here with the other knee controller on frame 1, it stays where it's at. It stays where it's at right here when it's going up around frame 24. Move that a little bit out or in, depending on how you want your walk. Okay, it goes up again right here around 54. All right, and then it goes back into position because we previously keyframed that. So now let's take a look at a walk. All right, so it's adding those kind of knee going in there. All right, let's add another one. So let's select the root. Okay, so right here, flat. So I'm going to do some rotation animation here. So when the other foot goes up on 8, we can rotate this slightly. Okay, where it's kind of lifting hip just slightly right there. Okay, that's where we want it. So let's go back to frame 1 right here. Okay, and then I'm going to undo the rotation. All right, so on frame 1 there's no rotation, so we're going to keyframe this I, rotation, no rotation, right? We go to frame 8. Okay, and then when it's back again, 15 right there, flat both legs. Okay, press I, rotation. So I'm keyframing every time it's in this position that there shouldn't be any rotation, so that we can simply just go add the rotations in between and it stays straight. So 30 I, rotation, 45 I, rotation, 60 I, rotation. So now we go in between. 8, rotate it a bit, press I, rotation. So now when I scrub this to 15, it goes back straight because we previously keyframed that. Now let's go to frame 24 where it did that. So we go the other way. I, rotation, straights again because keyframe 130, 38. Rotate it just slightly. I, rotation, 45, pre-keyframe, right? 54. I, rotation, then of course 60, we already did that. All right, so it's doing, we're adding a little bit more, you know, very subtle walk. All right, so let's say, what else? Let's say we want to add some rotation on the body here. Let's see if this will add to it. Let's go like this, and then let's see, because I already have rotation. So if I go to in between, so let's say it starts like this. And when it goes up like so, we slightly rotate it back so we can animate those later. Okay, so press I and rotate. Then it settles straight again. Remember our 1, 15, 30, 45, and 60, we keyframed it with no rotation, so it's always straight right there. So frame 24, I'll do the same thing. So just move it back a little bit. 38. 54. And these are just suggested stuff. I mean, it's whatever it is you want on your walk. All right, so now it kind of added that. So okay, now let's add some animation with the stem. All right, so here we're just gonna keep it kind of where it's at, kind of straight, both of them actually, on one. Okay, so rotation is what we're animating, I, rotation. Then we go to 15, I, rotation, 30, I, rotation, 45, I, rotation, 60. So that we just basically keyframe that that it goes back to that kind of flat position. Okay, now we go to 8 right here. So we can rotate this one this way, and that one that way. Okay, so both of them kind of just curve it a bit. I, rotation, go to 24, rotate this and that one. It's subtle. I, rotation. I think that's 38. I, rotation. All right, let's take a look. Actually sideways so we can actually see. All right. Maybe I moved it too much, but you get the point. You can kind of swing them back. All right, there is our walk right here from the front. Let me turn off this one. Let's keep watching. All right. Okay, so now what else can we add? Can we add some rotation to this? Yeah, probably. Can we add when it goes up like that, it counters. It's you know, this is terrible for animator. This is what we call counter animation, but again, it's a basic animation lesson. It's more like a puppeteering, stop motion kind of stuff. So it's good to experience being able to kind of move these things manually, you know, and then later on you'll get so sophisticated with your rig, all these things will be automatically done for you. You can even pre-animate them and use a driver for it. Okay, so frame 8, straighten that a bit. That one goes in there. Okay, so let's see. I, rotation. Then it goes up like so. On frame 24 we go, okay, rotate this way and a little bit over here. Okay, I, rotation. And it goes up right there, frame 38. Select both. I, rotation. 39 on 38, doesn't matter. I mean, it's really close. 54. And, you know, the only reason why we're going with this exact every 15 frames is just so that it's a little bit easier to kind of comprehend when you're just starting. Your numbers are consistent, you know, but it's makes for bad mechanical animation. So let's play it. All right, so now we got, oh yeah, that one frame Wiggle, wiggle right there. Not good. Okay, so let me just kind of get rid of that. Press delete there. All right, yeah. Go frame 8 here and then rotate it that way. Well, I mean, I think I'm fine without it. All right. What else? What about the foot? Again, we didn't do a foot roll on this one, so we can't really rotate this thing where it goes. Like that. It's yeah, it'll sink to the ground, right? We don't have any foot roll. But however, we can do heel up on this one. All right, so we can do kind of where it's up. All right. So let's add that to the animation. We can also just animate this as well. Okay, so we'll just we'll go like that one at the beginning. Eye rotation. Actually, no. What am I thinking? Yeah, because it needs to go flat right here. So you can go like that, and then as soon as it goes here on frame 8, then we can reset the rotation. So it has to be the opposite. So I'm going to click undo. Okay, I'm going to keyframe it on 8 where it's flat. So no rotation, right? So rotation. Then we go to, what was the other one? Where it lands. So 8. It's when it's up, then it's up again. I think that was 24. So eye rotation. Then it's up again at 54, I think. It's where the other keyframes are. Rotation. And of course on 60. All right, so let's do this now. So I go to frame 1. I can rotate this now to go up a bit. Press I and rotate, and then it will rotate it flat when it goes in there. Remember, because we animate it going in there. Here we don't have any foot rolls, so it'll be a shame to because it'll sink, you know. Maybe here I can rotate it a bit. What was that? On frame 24. I and rotate, so let's see what happened. Oh, it sinks right there because we don't have any foot roll. Okay, undo. All right, so we got it like that on there, and then when it goes up, okay, since we did we can do right here no rotation, maybe in 20. Let's see. Then when it goes to 24, we can rotate it. Yeah, and then here it needs to go to all right, let's not do this. It's I need to set up foot roll because it's just the counter and animation is just too much. All right, so ignore all that. All right, so we're learning also that we need a proper setup to manipulate the foot a little bit. Okay. Let's see here. What can we? Maybe we can go like that on. Okay, let's not mess with the foot, not unless we, you know. We'll have a part 2 where we have a foot controller and a much more complicated rig. But I think for the sake of learning how to do a quick kind of walk animation. All right, it has that kind of stopping feel to it because it's every 15 frames. It just has that mechanical. It looks fine up front right here, but reality here is that it's a little bit mechanical, and maybe we could raise the foot a little bit higher. Let's see. So this guy first. Okay, and then we go frame 8. Let's exaggerate it a bit. Press I, location. I, location. So I'm just basically exaggerating the okay, let's go to the other leg. All right, so this one, no animation yet. So here, 24. 54. All right, let's see. So I just kind of did it look better. Now that they're higher, it's not necessarily, it just looked a little bit different. All right, still very mechanical, but there's, you know, we gotta offset our timing. You know, no one walks in perfect 15 frames, not unless you're a trained soldier and you were told to. All right, but I think that will do it right there. Okay.